Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. And it's December 30th, 2023, which means All Elite Wrestling's World's End pay-per-view will be live tonight, and I'm certainly excited for that. But what a year it has been. Of course, only one more sleep now until the new year. It is absolutely crazy to think about. We are almost in 2024, and today we're going to celebrate this year. We're going to give our favorite moments and our favorite overall wrestling show, and of course the best male and female wrestlers in our humble opinions for this year in professional wrestling. And of course we're also going to touch on what it's impossible to avoid right now, and that's who's showing up at WWE's Day 1 pay-per-view tomorrow. Sorry, not tomorrow, Monday, and not a pay-per-view either, just a normal episode of Raw. So many things going on, it's chaotic, and the year hasn't even started yet, so I'm going to need some help. And let me firstly introduce the co-host of the show, Clark Taylor. Clark, how are you today?
What's going on? I'm fired up to be here. We got World's End. We got the Nassau Coliseum, Long Island. I'm stoked about it. One thing I will correct you on, though, is humble opinion. I'm pretty sure mine are the best opinions, so I don't know how humble those will be, but I am excited to deliver them. We've got great topics. We've got World's End this evening, maybe the middle of the night for some of my friends over there in the UK. And shout out our good friend Chaos. I'm sorry to do this to you, but did you really miss your own entrance music?
Oh, for those who are not behind the scenes, aka everybody watching at home, Chaos has shown up late to this show. Ooh, no,
right on time.
He was like 30 seconds late, if that. He got you right on time. But we do have a couple of comments here. Firstly, Bobby Petito. Hello, Bobby, as well as Shard in the comments too. The Tuesday Night Delight is commenting on a Saturday. We've got at N4HV7_ on Instagram saying the best wrestler of this year is Becky Lynch. I mean, we'll be getting into that later on, I am sure. But thank you guys for joining us here. It's going to be a great show. And for a great show, we need the man who is the AEW reviewer for Wrestling Republic, David Sheldon. David, how are things?
Hello, everybody. I'm really excited to be here for this show, for a celebration of the year 2023. An up and down year, but a good year for professional wrestling. And, you know, this is my first year in Wrestling Republic. I joined back in May. So, you know, this is my 7th month here now. And yeah, it's been so wonderful. It's been so great to get a chance to, you know, talk to people and you know, share with other wonderful wrestling fans my usually wrong opinions. I'm excited to be here to chat about best wrestlers and the like, because I think there's a lot of very interesting things to talk about. And of course, our mystery guest on Raw. I'm excited. Let's get at it.
Absolutely. And last but certainly not least, it is the man who is the head of his table. That man is Chaos. Chaos, how are you today? And yeah, how has your 2023 been?
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, as you said, behind the scenes, I was a bit late. Black people time and all that good stuff. But we're here. It's all good. The main event is here. Obviously, I am the head of the table. But yeah, glad to be here. What a year it's been. 2023 has been a monumental year, not just for myself, but Wrestling Republic as a whole. And I'm glad to be part of this joyful ride and many more years to come, hopefully, until Ben gets bored of me and then obviously releases me and future endeavors me. But until then, I'm going to enjoy the ride. And yeah, don't worry. Relationship in the relation to, or the reply to Soul, you will never be the head of the table. I am so sorry. You will not take over. You will just You're just a filler. That's all you are. I am the main event. It's all good.
Maybe the kiddie table.
Maybe the kiddie table. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the preschool table. That's where you need to be.
Still
You
shows
bring
up
us
more
the height. You're
still
just a
shows
height to be preschool. Go on.
Still
Aim
shows
high.
it still shows it more than Roman does.
Exactly. Nice little sort of burn there. But
Oh,
yeah, let's
man.
get straight to it, guys.
Well, I'm sure we'll get into Roman Reigns later, but before that, let's firstly get into day one, because in case you guys have been living under a rock, there was rumblings last night in the dirt sheets. As always, they were baited by WWE in a storyline because WWE fed to them saying that, hey, we may or may not have a former WWE Champion appearing next week on Raw. So all of them were writing their articles behind their paywalls. And then guess what? Triple H just shows that he was completely baited them. It was all part of a storyline by tweeting out, I've heard these rumors and they may or may not be true. Tune in this Monday on Raw. So blatantly, they are true. Blatantly, a former WWE Champion will be showing up at day one's edition of Monday Night Raw. Now, an interesting point I want to add quickly is in the past, let's not forget, WWE, when people have returned, have referred to people who are, for example, a United States champion as a former WWE champion, meaning that they were a former champion in WWE, but not actually a WWE championship holder. It's all very confusing when they do that, but I just want to put that out there in case that does happen.
Say
But
WWE
hopefully...
champion one more time, Ben, and see if we can all remember that. That was wild.
What?
I think you hit the record for WWE champion in one sentence. Basically, that was remarkable.
WWE champion,
in my eyes.
WWE
Yeah.
champion, WWE champion.
We got
they say
this.
show it 3 times and they'll give you a custom title belt.
We're
That
gonna
was
go
my
in the
aim.
history books. I want to go in the history books together, Ben. I just make sure you get in a couple more.
But no, honestly, I'm excited. But Clark, who's it gonna be?
I think it's going to be a former WWE champion, but I'm not exactly sure which one. I'm going to go with out of the gates off the top of my head. I mean, heck, maybe it's Mick Foley. I don't know. Randy Orton's the WWE champion. There's a lot of names. Brock Lesnar. I think he's won a few WWE championships, an undisputed one, during a different named era of the same title. I really hope it's not a United States champion or like a cruiserweight champion. Ben, I'm praying that that is not the case. That's why I made a joke a bit about that setup. Give us somebody fun. Mick Foley may not be the most fun, but that's not a bad one. For a day one thing to launch stuff. You know, we all know he loves the holiday season. New Year's type party would be fun. I don't know if it's just me, but I mean, both The Rock and Austin are former WWE champions. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know that we're getting that. What I hope it's not is like a fumbled attempt at a return. That is my only issue. Is I really hope it's and actually I just saw a comment here out of the corner of my eye from the Tuesday Night Delight himself. That would be the coolest one. Biggie would be outstanding. Shad. Biggie would be an amazing return. Even if it was just on commentary or just a short appearance, I would love that. I do believe it'd be kind of a little bit like poetic justice because if I remember correctly, he lost that WWE title in the fight against Brock Lesnar
2 years ago. 2 years ago on Monday.
At day one.
Yeah.
And so that would be a fascinating one. It could be anyone. I just hope this isn't a failed attempt at a return of sorts that gets lost in the shuffle. I hope it is something actually impactful.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of comments here. There's firstly, we got at man_Agadoni saying it's Sasha Banks. Absolute certainty there that they believe that it's going to be Sasha Banks. I don't know. I'd love it for it to be, but just like Biggie and Sasha Banks, both of them, if they're going to return, have it be at the Rumble. Have them have their Rumble moment. I don't want to see it pre-announced on Monday Night Raw. I don't understand what the value in that is, to be honest with you, other than to, pop a rating on New Year's Day. And I have a theory as to who it is, but I'm not going to get into that yet because I have a feeling probably somebody else on the panel will. David, I'll go to you first. Next. Who do you reckon it'll be?
I tell you what I think it'll be. I think it'll be more disappointing than we think it's going to be. Now, I don't expect it to be a massive wow. This is a game changer of an announcement. Again, you've got a Rumble coming up. You want to save your big things for the Rumble. So I don't think it's big. I'd love it to be big. I miss him so much. But if he's cleared to come back, I'll give him the Rumble. Same with if Sasha's coming in, you can put it there. Same with people like I mean. I'm gonna blatantly steal an idea from one of our writers, Archie, who posed the idea in our chat earlier that it was Batista coming in to announce that he was headlining a Hall of Fame class. It wouldn't surprise me if it is somebody for the Hall of Fame, even if it's not Batista. I feel like that it makes sense. First day of January, Batista's a big name. Am I back? Sorry, I briefly cut out Wi-Fi. Then am I back?
No, you're back. You're all good.
Excellent. Yes, so I think it's probably going to be I could see it being a legend more likely than it being a current talent. Really, I joked earlier, it'd be funny if it's Triple H. And he comes out and goes, "Happy New Year, everybody! I filled my end of the bargain. A set of former world champion might be on Raw. Here I am. Should old acquaintance be?" No, but I think a legend is most likely, and I'm going to say if it's going to be anybody, Batista is really not a bad show in that regard.
No, I do agree with you, David, and I said I bet somebody's going to take my take, and that was my take. I do believe it's going to be Batista. Like you said, Archie Carter said it in the chat, in our Wrestling Republic chat earlier today, and that is my belief as well. I think Batista makes perfect sense for him to come back for, a Hall of Fame induction. And also that would make sense why somebody isn't just, showing up in the Rumble instead of day one. So it does make a lot of sense to me. And also I feel like that would live up to the hype for the people in attendance and probably viewers enough so there wouldn't be backlash. But still, it's getting people's hopes up after all these returns I'm seeing. Especially with Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks as a free agent, Big E on the shelf. But I think we're going to have to wait until the Rumble to see them if we see them. But what about you, Chaos? Who do you think it will be on day one Raw?
Yeah, I'm pretty much gonna just carry on with what David said, because I don't think it's gonna be anyone major. I feel like this is just like a subtle dig at at TK, saying obviously he makes this whole uproar about an announcement, and it's 9 times out of 10 it's underwhelming. So I think he's just trying to play off that, and don't, because when it came to the big returns or the big surprises, he never said anything like that. Never said that someone's going to be showing up at here, this and that. It just happens. And that's what we like to see. We don't need to be pre-warned of an announcement or a return or something. So, I think it's going to be, whoever it is going to be, it's just going to be, it wouldn't surprise me if it's R-Truth, because he's a previous champion, and he's just going to be like, they probably just do like a running joke. Like it's going to be R-Truth, and it's Hornswoggle, and then it ends up being Sheamus. Either way, it's whatever it is. I don't think it's going to be as anyone monumental. It's not going to be Mercedes. It's not going to be Brock Lesnar. All the other big names. And if people say obviously it's Batista being the Hall of Fame, it's a bit too early for them to announce Hall of Fame inductees. They usually, I know obviously we're in under a new regime, but usually they leave that until maybe a month before Mania to announce the Hall of Fame inductees. So I don't think it's going to be Batista. I think whoever it is going to be, it's going to be a little like running joke, and then he just shows up and is someone that is just probably just been injured and is making their return. But I wouldn't be holding my breath at all. But I'm looking forward to it. But just don't expect anything big, guys.
Yeah, no, I will agree with you there, Chaos, on that one. I mean, Shard saying, what happens if it's a former NXT Women's Champion? Maybe Tiffany Stratton. I mean, Shard's obsession with Tiffany Stratton continues. I mean, to be fair, though, she watches off the air, so I'm a fan of Tiffany Stratton now as well. Bobby Petito thinks it could be Rob Van Dam, the whole
great show,
effing show,
great
as
show
they
for
say. And
Rob's not in the Hall of Fame, is he?
He is.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Is he?
No.
Ben.
They did it 2 years ago. He was in the class.
Oh, yes, he did.
Yes,
he did.
Yes,
My bad.
2020.
The fact that I'm the one that had to pull that out, by the way, guys, I'm not the one that should know on this panel. But it was Rob.
Look, it was 2021. It was different times.
Yeah, 'cause
we've
he
also
brought
got
Dark
we've all wiped those years out of our mind. The great
Yep.
Carly was in that class, as far
Who
as
did
I'm
he
aware.
bring?
So let's not.
Yeah, it was a wild speech too, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Absolutely
Oh,
electric in some
I think
ways.
it got like 2 minutes as well. But Shard's in the comments as well saying, as long as it isn't a jobber like Okada. Oh, no.
Wow.
And then we got Melissa saying, my setup looks sick. Thank you very much, Melissa.
I know, and seriously, dude, I meant to tell you this yesterday. Congrats on joining the Judgment Day. It's
I
a
know.
huge accomplishment for you.
It's our truth can't even get in. It took JD
I
months.
know.
I just slipped
Everybody
right in.
months, you just slid right. You get 2 LED lights set up, and next thing you
Yep.
know, you're in the group.
It's
As long as they
actually
ain't blue, Ben. We had
It's
that
four
talk.
LED lights. Get it right.
Apparently, the color blue belongs to Chaos and Chaos exclusively.
Yes.
He owns
yes,
it. He owns the copyright to it.
yes.
I got a
The whole
cease and
color.
desist when I used it the other day.
Exactly. Definitely. Don't let me catch you again, Ben.
I'm cool on green, right? Because that's blue and yellow, technically.
Green.
know,
Oh
I'm like-
God.
I'm a
Looking at the
green
color
fan.
of sick. Yeah, nice. Good
Ooh,
one.
I like
Good one.
I like green.
You like the color of sick. All right.
Oh, right. Bobby
Money.
Petito's
In America, it's
congratulated
money.
me too. Apparently, I'm betting the Dirty Dom. I agree. And Laurie Taylor, I say, complimenting the setup as well. Thank you very much. And actually, Soul is disputing your ownership of the color blue.
No,
Chaos.
no.
So
Technically,
that's-
you started with a leather jacket, and then all of a sudden you transitioned into the blue. To be fair,
Guys,
so
we're in a-
don't try that.
guys,
So
guys, we're in a celebration mood. It's the end of 2023. Let's be happy.
I'm talking lawsuits. Forget that. No, I'm joking.
Let's be happy.
Coming up on the
and
next
joyful.
episode of Take It to the Table, we will draft the primary and secondary colors.
Damn straight.
Check it out next week.
Oh, that's gold. That is absolutely gold. But before I just break down in laughter, we're going to need to move on. And we're going to need to move on to talk about, well, one of the highlights of the year, specifically our favorite moment of 2023. It has been a year of many, many moments. But what's my favorite? My favorite was the one which we saw just a couple of weeks ago. And I know a lot of people didn't like it because of their personal feelings towards him. And I have my own personal feelings towards him as well. But the return, well, it was just something which you never expected in a million years. And that was the return of CM Punk at Survivor Series. It was mental. The roof came off the place. And it was just something I never thought we'd see again. So that is my moment of the year for 2023. But Clark, what's yours?
So I'm gonna be real quick. My moment of the year to me was Adam Copeland's debut in AEW. I thought it was, for what it was perfect, and I loved the way it was filmed. I loved everything about it personally. I don't think we spent enough time on it. I don't know if it's just because we kind of assumed that it was Copeland and Christian Cage out of the gates that we spent a little less time on it than I think it deserved. But that moment with getting in the old school car, and he's driving manual when he shifts gears and hits the gas, and he's in Seattle and he's ponying the arena, and at that point you kind of know it because of the hint. But when the actual music hit, and it's Beth Phoenix's voice doing the "You Think You Know Me" or "You Think You Know Him," I guess now with the new re-record, and the music hits, that moment to me was moment of the year. Personal moment of the year, though, I was lucky enough to attend All Out 2023 this year. I had one of the best seats I've ever sat in for a wrestling event. There was a Darby Allin spot in the corner right by where I was sitting on the front row. And the little exchange where I grabbed Darby's shoulder, kind of helped him up the thing. And he actually did yell at me to slow down, which cracked me up during the moment. But that was my greatest memory, favorite moment of the year personally, if I can throw that in as like a secondary deal. But generally speaking, I actually do have to go with the Adam Copeland debut. I think it was amazing. It was overshadowed by other news, but I don't think deservedly so. It's still my moment of the year.
No, absolutely. It was a top moment, and so was you helping Darby Allin up. I mean, those screenshots, they are absolutely hilarious. Laurie Taylor's favorite moment was Wrestling Republic being in LA for WrestleMania.
Yes.
I mean, personally, that's mine as well.
Yeah, that's
if we're talking outside of the product, Agreed, 100%. That trip was phenomenal. But what about you, David? What was your favorite moment of 2023?
Well, like Clark, I'm just going to give a personal one quickly before I give my actual answer. From a very personal perspective, the very early in the year, the stare down with the Undertaker and Bray Wyatt, when Taker came back and they did the whisper in the ear, that made me sob because they are my two favorite wrestlers of all time, just sharing the ring together. It was only a very small moment, so I won't make it my moment of the year, but for me, that really, maybe just particularly now, R.I.P. Bray as always. My moment of the year. I've been critical of the Bloodline this year. You've heard it a lot on podcasts. The reason I'm critical of the Bloodline is because I was so passionate about it at a point in time. And that's why my moment of the year is Sami Zayn knifing Roman Reigns in the back with a steel chair at the end of the Royal Rumble. I watched that in a very large watch party with quite a large number of people, and the reaction and the uproar, that swelling of support for Sami, and those months and months and months of phenomenal storytelling all coming together. That Raw when he finally nails it, Roman falling in the same way that he fell when Seth hit him, Jay walking away, Jimmy without hesitation beating down his, the man who he's cared about for so long, Solo's involvement. To me, it is perfect. It is the definition of wrestling perfection. And when I get frustrated about what I think is bad booking with the Bloodline and the fact that I'm not invested in it, the reason it gets me so much more, the reason why I'm so passionate about the Bloodline is because of that moment and that whole storyline and how into it I was and how wrapped up in it I was. And to me, I think it is the most perfect segment that any wrestling company has produced all year. And it happened right in the very first pay-per-view of the year, but just phenomenal stuff. And all the way through then until Sami and Roman at the Chamber into the Mania tag was just that whole section really was such perfection. And then Roman won. And yeah, that's when my issues started. But we won't go there because it's a celebration. But no, it's Sami's turn on Roman because it is just beautiful.
I do agree. That moment, I mean, we were all just hooked in, weren't we? Story is king in wrestling. I say it all the time, and that moment, I mean, it sums it up perfectly. It really, really did. Shard's got a great comment here. His favorite moment was when Sami got to cut the promo in his throat in Arabic at the Saudi Arabia show. A moment that his girlfriend painted him for as a gift. I mean, that moment was exceptional. It certainly was. But what about you, Chaos? What is your moment of 2023?
Yeah, I've had a long think about this. This was a very eventful year. Who says wrestling's dead? I mean, we never thought it would get to these kind of heights, but yeah, since everyone's given two, I thought let me just give my own one. So first off, my personal one was definitely involving Mania weekend, and that was definitely seeing history happen when obviously with my own eyes in person, the main event of night one when Jay and the Usos faced Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. The crowd was rocking, the atmosphere was crazy. There was awesome moments in it. I go and watch that match at least once a month now since we saw it in LA because the match was that good. It was definitely a moment to remember. Was that my personal one? Yeah. My actual moments of 2023, or it's actually split between two because these moments give me goosebumps. The first one, even though it's not even a match, it was a moment when Bad Bunny made his entrance at Backlash. That atmosphere, I don't think we've seen. Probably CM Punk's return is up there with how loud and how electrifying that crowd was. Just as soon as they heard that theme song, and you see the drone shot going across the crowd, and they were singing his new song word for word, bar for bar, and it was electric. And the match itself was great as well. And that coupled with Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber, again the crowd was 120% behind Sami. Absolutely electric. They were like saying all these different saying these words. I think it was saying meat. I can't remember what it was saying. Every time they were like colliding with each other, and when Sammy was attacking Roman and whatnot. Obviously, the ending kind of soured it down a bit, obviously, but yeah, it was still an amazing moment to see and to witness. So those are my picks for personal and actual my moments of 2023.
No, I agree with you there. You gave a lot of great ones. I mean, it does just sum up how good this year in wrestling has been with all these different moments. And I know there's obviously been very sad things as well, but overall, just what a year in wrestling absolutely has been. But now, favorite shows. I mean, what's been your favorite show this year, Clark? I'll start with you first.
So this one is easy for me. Chaos just broke down a lot about why the reason is this, but if I can go with both night 1 and 2, I would. But night 1 to me, being there in the crowd, and that's not even my personal event, because All Out I had the time of my life at too. So it's right there between those two events for me. I'm going to go with night 1 of WrestleMania is my event of the year. But I mean, my list is deep because All In was outstanding. All In was off the charts. WrestleMania Backlash, I mean, Chaos mentioned the entrance for Bad Bunny. Queen Zelina's entrance, as well as the flag, and that crowd, the way it was so on fire, that's one of the best Backlash events I've ever seen in my life. It's hard to quantify. There's so many good choices throughout this year to pick from, but if I have to pick one, I'm going to go with night 1.
No, I mean, honestly, Clark, you pretty much said the exact thing I was going to say on it, to be honest. If you can group them together, undoubtedly WrestleMania for me. Both shows I thought were just so much fun. And yes, of course, we were there. So there's a bit of bias there, of course.
100%.
There is. But it was just so fun. And the wrestling was amazing. There were so many stories on both nights that had been built up for months and months and had me hooked in. And I mean, I think I was in the very, very few who preferred night 2 of the show. And again, I've already said this. I think it was because I was slightly ill on night 1. And I mean, we had 2 5-star matches night 1 as well. I don't know how I can even say night 2. But I mean, it really was just such a good time. It was one of the best, even visually. That WrestleMania as a graphic designer, right? I loved it. I mean, I wrote about it in my dissertation.
Well, and by the way, and that's no knock on night 2. Night 2 was a blast. We had a blast with, I mean, even like obviously there was the issue in the Balor Edge match with the head injury thing. But even that, we like had fun with in being in the crowd, which.
Yeah.
And Shane McMahon. Don't forget Shane McMahon.
I don't want to say that was funny, but obviously him getting hurt was very, very sad. But the way which Snoop Dogg saved it was hilarious. That was brilliant.
Snoop Dogg doing the people's elbow was.
Trust me, I don't want to say this, but it really wasn't. It should have been sad because somebody got injured, but it was less sad when just before Shane tears his quad, Michael Cole says, "Shane still got it." Bang! Down he goes to the floor. And I did not stop laughing for 5 minutes before I realized he's injured. He's really injured himself badly. Oh dear,
Oh no.
Oh, it's bad. No, but honestly, I mean, David, Snoop Dogg made it. In fact, that moment, obviously, very sad to see Shane get injured. But the Snoop Dogg saving that segment almost made the segment, I think, more entertaining. So that did not harm my enjoyment of night 2, to be honest with you. I think it only enhanced it because of Snoop Dogg.
It was funny. Well, and then the way that he ended up watching the main event from the tunnel right next to where our seats were.
I wonder how we knew about that.
It was like a bat signal. That's what it was.
Yeah, he was sending bat signals.
But what about you, David? What's been your show of 2023?
Well, I think WrestleMania is a good show. I think night 1 was a terrific show. It wasn't perfect, but it did have some really, really great stuff in there. Night 2 was a great show. The end of the main event is my least favorite thing that's happened in wrestling all year in the ring. So that it left me really angry at the end of WrestleMania, and like I didn't want to keep watching, which kind of sullies that mania, even though the match is outstanding. For me, it sounds biased to say All In because it's the only major show I attended this year. But it is All In. I do still think top to bottom it's a phenomenal show. I think the main event is remarkable. I think FTR Bucks is great. I love the Stadium Stampede. Love the Osprey match. There's so many just top quality matches from top to bottom through the show. And getting to share it with some amazing people, getting to see all the WR gang. Shout out AJ, who I watched the show with, I'm a legend. And it was just a really, really enjoyable show. Also, a shout out to the Rev Pro show that I saw the night before as well, which was also just brilliant. Such a great show. Elsewhere, Backlash, there's Wrestle Kingdom. If I want to put my hipster glasses on and say Stardom Sunshine, as the 12-woman leaves unit cage match that I will not stop talking about. But yeah, so many great shows this year. It's been a really good year for wrestling. But for me, possibly a biased choice. It's all in.
Even though I was there and I really enjoyed that show, for some reason, I don't know why, I seem to have enjoyed that show like a lot less than everybody else did. I thought it was a fantastic show, but I don't know. I don't know if it's in my... It must be in my top 5, but I think
it better be. You got a list to do. Bro.
I know. I've got a list. I'm checking it twice. Ben is coming to take it to the table.
I was gonna say, don't start with. You're gonna find out who's naughty and nice. That was brawl in night. Let's not start with naughty and nice.
Oh gosh, but what about you, Chaos? What has been your show of 2023?
Well, you guys have pretty much taken on my ones I was gonna go for, so I'm gonna go for the one that still top 3. But again, I think it's a bit biased because I was also there along with Ben Allison, and that was, of course, Money in the Bank. Remember that pay-per-view?
Ooh.
That was a phenomenal show being there. Obviously, Money in the Bank matches and that crazy stunt that Logan Paul and Ricochet did. Obviously, Damian Priest won that. Obviously, there was a couple duds there. Remember the women's tag team match where Shayna randomly turned on Ronda? That was a bit messy. It is what it is. And then there was Seth against Finn. There were a couple duds, but of course, it had the main event, the Bloodline against the Usos, the Bloodline Civil War. Awesome match, awesome finish. And yeah, that pretty much set the tone for obviously Jay going on his singles run, and then obviously going ultimately facing Roman for at SummerSlam for Tribal Combat. And but yeah, that was awesome. The unexpected return of John Cena trying to get WrestleMania in London, which will be freaking awesome. I don't care how much the front row tickets are, I'm getting it. On Klarna, obviously, or Clear Pay, if you guys know about those. But yeah, that was awesome. The atmosphere was electric. Both for SmackDown and Money in the Bank. And obviously, if you haven't checked out the vlog, make sure you go check it out. From myself and Ben, we vlogged about Money in the Bank. Awesome vibes, great show. And yeah, I was glad to be a part of history. Definitely, it was awesome.
Well, if you look at the thumbnails, Chaos, we were actually front row for both of those shows, Come
oh yeah, of course.
But
yeah,
but we do have a couple of commentary. Bobby Petito saying NXT Stand and Deliver. Shard saying NXT No Mercy. I mean, 2 very solid choices there. But Sowell has sent in his moments of the year, so let's quickly play the video.
Lads, come on, you couldn't do a best moments of the year without me now. So, come on, all right, hey, I respect it, you guys are busy. Hey, fair dues. But let's talk about the moments this year, and there's one that we need to really crown up there. That event up there, All In, my moment of the year, that whole show, everything going on at MJF and Cole, their match, maybe one of my favorite of the year with what they did, truly stunning. But obviously, as well, in the land of the Fed, they've done some good stuff as well. WrestleMania Night 1, KO and Sammy versus the Usos for the tag champions. Loved that. Even Sammy Elimination Chamber, I'll take that as well. But another one recently, Swerve and Hangman. The blood coming from Swerve into Hangman's mouth, that is a moment. What will we get next year? Well, I'm going to make crazy predictions in the future, but for now, let's keep it humble and simple. Here's the 2024, lads.
Hey, indeed, here is the 2024.
Good stuff, just good.
Whoa. We just got hoodie and t-shirt sold.
I know.
Guys. Literally, I mean, I could barely even hear what he was saying because that was incredible. We got Soul in his natural habitat. That was remarkable.
Before
Clip
we,
it, Ben. Make sure you clip it.
Promo of the year.
before we move on,
Can I
there's
change
just
my
one-
moment of the year to that?
There's one moment of the year that I actually forgot to mention when I was talking earlier.
Oh,
that-
yeah?
that is also up there for me, and it's only a very small moment. In the MJF versus Bryan Danielson match at Revolution, which is my match of the year. The very last bit of that, when the time runs out and MJF is being administered oxygen on the floor with everyone surrounding him, while Bryan Danielson is doing jumping jacks and laughing,
Yeah.
might be my favorite in match moment of the year, because I think it's the best encapsulation of that whole story. And yeah, sorry, it was just a little moment that I clocked while Soul was talking. I was like, must mention that.
Oh, that's gold. Soul saying that his suit was in the wash because, unlike most wrestling fans, he cares about personal hygiene.
Oh,
Nice.
Okay,
dry
MJF,
clean it,
okay.
Soul. Dry clean it, Soul.
Exactly. Get it dry cleaned. But we now moving on to our
Pressed.
final topic. And this final topic is who has been the best male and female competitors in professional wrestling for 2023. I'll start and I'll say on the men's side of things, for me, I've thought long and hard about it and I'm going with MJF. I mean, the guy has gone from a heel who you know everybody hated at the start of the year to somebody who everybody ends up loving later in the year. The guy's told multiple stories and he's told most of them very, very successfully. He's reinvented himself. He's shown character development and he's been on TV week in, week out. And for me, I mean, that says a lot of things. It really, really does. He's worked really hard this year and I think he deserves that top spot. Now, in the women's division, I've got a controversial one. And the controversial one I'm giving it to is Rhea Ripley. Firstly, she had that amazing match at WrestleMania. One of my matches of the year. Absolutely exceptional. But secondly, she's been on TV, I think, more than any female competitor ever has in WWE history this year. She honestly has been on TV in almost every segment on Raw. Yes, she's not defended her title as much as we'd like. But in terms of, being a top character, she's become that. She's become viral online. Her character, I mean, so many people absolutely love it. And she's had great matches when she has wrestled as well. She's also, I mean, let's not forget this. She's been traveling to nearly every show, make an appearance on it nearly every week. And then on top of that, doing live events as well. So I think she deserves that top spot. But what about you, Chaos? Who is your male and female wrestler of the year?
Boy, yeah, this one was definitely a tough one. Like, I wish I could go for MJF, but yeah, unfortunately, this babyface run does not hit for me. I feel like, not to say that he's a natural heel, but yeah, this babyface run just kind of feels forced, and I think obviously because of the Adam Cole injury, it kind of derailed things, and it's kind of like just made them do some silly decisions, like putting an injured Adam Cole in the main event to possibly, defend the title in replace of MJF. I'm like, huh? Doesn't make any sense. But anyway, that's whatever. But it is someone from the AEW fold, which I'm sure Soul is probably going to be creaming himself when I say this. And the reason I say this, guy, is because it's just, you've seen true evolution, true progression, and it's to the point where I've actually went and gone and see his matches in other promotions, and that is Swerve Strickland. He is actually my actual performer of the year. Obviously, in the beginning of the year, he had like whatever kind of matches, and he was involved in the coffin match at All In and whatnot. But in the second half of the year, he's been putting banger after banger after banger. And like there's no match that I've seen since that All In match that has been mediocre. He's like literally leveled up. It's crazy. And the weird thing about it, he hasn't really done anything different. He's just been put into these meaningful storylines and whatnot where he can showcase what he can do. And it's like I said, it's to the point where I've actually wanted to go and see his stuff in Lucha Underground when he was Killshot. His CZW stuff, and he's just absolutely phenomenal. And he's definitely my strong pick to be the next major world champion in AEW, provided he doesn't injure himself or anything right now. But he's got so much momentum on his side, and he's definitely going to go there. He's going to go places. Women's, to be fair, the women's divisions have been kind of dire for me this year. I'm not really feeling. You already said Rhea Ripley. That was going to be my pick, so I'm just going to cop out and say that one as well. There's no, even though, like you said, she hasn't defended her title as much, her presentation has been great. She, you know, when she interferes in, remember that great match with Judgment Day against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the tag titles. I think was that Backlash or Payback?
Payback, yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
That her input in that was phenomenal. Her matches that she's been in when she had the Fatal 5-Way at Crown Jewel, phenomenal. Her match against Charlotte Flair, phenomenal. So yeah, she's definitely my top pick. I can't really think of anyone that's really come close. I just hope she has a better year next year when she's obviously she's going to be at Elimination Chamber, and that's going to be in her hometown. So yeah, that's my pick. Sorry, I'm tired of Becky Lynch. Everyone's saying in the comments, tough Becky Lynch. I do not care for Becky Lynch.
Fair enough. I mean, Bobby Batista is going Carmelo Hayes and Roxanne Perez. Some shouts there from NXT. But what about you, David? Who is your male and female competitors of the year?
So first of all, phenomenal year for wrestling, wasn't it? Crikey, this is hard. There are I think my number one for male was very easy. Although there are many others, I will let Clark give his pick because I don't want to rain on his parade in case he says who any of my honorable mentions. But my pick for wrestler of the year was very straightforward on the men. It's Will Ospreay, and the reason I think is it just from a character perspective, he's amazing. From an in-ring perspective, he's even better. The output that this man has put out this year is extraordinary. He's had two match of the year candidates versus Kenny Omega. You had a match with Shingo Takagi at Rev Pro. You had one of the best matches I've ever seen in him versus Naito, semifinals of the G1. Had a fantastic G1, fantastic match with Marufuji. Really good, a really great showing at All In. Has got the momentum going into next year. The Mike Bailey match in Impact. He's gone to nearly every promotion he's possibly been able to go to and had a 5-star or near enough match. He went through a spate towards the end of the year where he was having, top matches with the some of the younger Japanese talent. He's got a great triple threat coming up at Wrestle Kingdom, and then he's AEW bound. I just think the man is he was my wrestler of the year last year. He's my wrestler of the year this year. I don't think there's any better wrestler on the planet right now. Quickly for the women's, biasedly, I wanted to say Toni Storm because she's my favorite character in wrestling, but I think that's she's not done enough really in ring to say that. But love you, Toni. Difficult year, like Chaos said. I'm gonna say Mercedes Moné, and she was only there for a few. She was only in Japan for a few months, but she's had 3 of my favorite matches of the year. In those few months that she was there, I could also say Julia because she's also had some incredible top to bottom. I've just not seen as much of Julia as I saw of Mercedes. So she was injured for a lot of the year, but I think the impact she made in those few months in Japan, Mercedes was great. Becky and Rhea have already been said. So I'm going to say Mercedes Moné and Will Ospreay.
No, that is 2 great takes. I mean, Clark, what about you? Male and female wrestler of the year?
I'm fired up to give this take, and obviously I know the old tradition, ladies first, but this is a pro wrestling podcast, so I'm going to put the women's wrestler of the year in the main event slot. When it comes to my take, I'm going to start with the men's wrestler of the year. This one, to me, I was going to go Swerve Strickland, full disclosure, but it's Maxwell Jacob Friedman. It is. He's worked injured. He's worked double duty. He's main evented multiple shows. He's just been an absolute worker's worker, on top of the fact that he's the most sublimely talented on the microphone that we've seen in generations. He's as good as anyone we've ever seen already. He proved his pro wrestling acumen in multiple Broadway type 60-minute matches. I got to give it to Max. Now, on the other side in my main event, David, you didn't spoil it, but I'm actually going to go that route. The reinvention, the amount of entertainment, it's timeless. It's timeless. Toni Storm. And I don't want my bias to show on this because I'm not biased here. I have multiple, if I'm making my list, from each company. But if I'm having to pick 2, as far as purely advancing themselves, work rate. Toni Storm wrestled a ton before she became timeless. And that I'm blown away by. The character itself is off the charts. But yeah, those are my two picks. Timeless Toni Storm and Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Those are two great picks indeed. I mean, again, this year in professional wrestling has been absolutely excellent. But if you guys have enjoyed this podcast today, please like and subscribe on YouTube. 5 stars it on Spotify, on whatever platform you're watching it on. Please support us. We really do appreciate it. We've got some lovely comments from Bobby Petito in the chat about NXT off the air as well. Thank you, Bobby. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow to give our thoughts on World's End. And I hope you guys all enjoy the show. And thank you to David, Clark, and Chaos for joining me here today. It's been a great show. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Yeet.
Yeet.